Next on Startup, we travel to New Haven, Connecticut to talk to Neville, the founder of Neville Wisdom. Then we head over to Portland, Maine to talk to Don, the owner of Salt Cellar. All of this and more is next on Startup.
There is nothing easy about starting a small business. A baker's tale, all natural and gluten-free cookies, tarts, pies, and cakes online. A Baker's Tale is proud to support Startup and all of the entrepreneurs out there trying to sweeten their own story of success.
The American small business was built on one thing: relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
The Michigan Economic Development Corporation is proud to support Startup and all the dreamers, thinkers, and doers. Pure Michigan, ready for the next big thing.
You've written your own story of success, and it shows. Chrysler is proud to support Startup and all the people out there who define their own success.
My name is Gary Brado, and I'm a documentary filmmaker and an entrepreneur. The economy is in less than perfect shape, and when the jobs go away, there's nothing left to do but get up and get creative. And there are people all over America doing just that. It's estimated that up to 85% of new businesses fail. So I'm going coast to coast to hear the personal stories of the people who beat the odds and started a successful business from the ground up. This is Startup. I'm on Whaley Avenue in New Haven, Connecticut, and I'm going to go talk to Neville, a fashion designer and merchandiser that's setting trends all over the East Coast. Let's go hear his story. During the 15th century, designers used dolls as models instead of actual people to show clients a new design. In the 1800s, the majority of women made their own clothing, whereas today, handmade clothes are quite rare. Neville was always into fashion and design, so when he had the opportunity to start his own line, he took a huge risk and hasn't looked back since.
My name is Neville Wisdom. I'm the owner of Neville Wisdom LLC, and our mission is to design and manufacture clothing in the U.S. for all shapes and forms.
So tell me about yourself. I just want to hear about you personally. You know, growing up as a kid, where you from, a little bit about what you've done.
I grew up in Jamaica in a very, very small community. I think it couldn't have been more than like 50 people. You know?
50?
It's small, really small.
That's small.
It was a little bit difficult at times because I somehow never fit in 100% because I always had like a weird sense of style. And
what was your style like when you were younger?
I mean, I was totally into just about anything that was different from what I was used to. So I used to makeshift clothes with whatever I could find.
How old were you around this time that you started doing your own clothes?
I started making stuff more when I was 14, 15. We grew up really poor, a big family, 11 of us.
Oh, wow.
So there wasn't a lot to go around. And then, you know, if it's either you don't have it or you try to make it.
You got to make your own way.
Yeah, you got to make your own way. So,
what brought you to the States? What made you decide to move out of Jamaica?
My dad lived there for many years, and he had filed residency for me, and it actually came through. I remember taking the train down to New York, to Manhattan, and walked around trying to find a job in this field. Because it's New York. I mean, of course, it's the fashion capital. Yeah, you can just walk around and you'll see somebody making stuff, and you can jump right in. But that wasn't quite the case. It was very difficult to actually find the places because they all seemed as if though you had to have some previous access to them. They weren't very readily available. Still,
nepotism, real tight.
Still that way a lot. I stayed with my sister in New York for a little bit, a couple months, and then my other sister that lives here, who was the educator, I came down to visit her on the 4th of July, and then she was like, maybe you should stay here and I came and I stayed, and a month after, I did get a job at Yale New Haven Hospital.
Tell me about the first space.
I had worked at the hospital for 7 years, and I couldn't do it anymore. Downtown New Haven, I rented a little studio upstairs and set up tables and machines and mannequins and stuff. It was on the 3rd floor, and that was kind of like, that was gonna be where I was gonna start this business. But I still worked at the hospital.
Got it.
And then that didn't work out because I was never there, because I was always working. And so my first real space was actually 2 doors up the street.
Oh, wow.
In a tiny little, I'd say probably about 400 square foot space. But that was enough to get me back on the right path.
Sum up like an elevator pitch if somebody asks what Neville Wisdom is.
We're a clothing design company. It's inspired, designed, and manufactured by us. If you buy a dress in-house, we'll customize it for you for no additional cost. If you buy a dress off the rack, you can also be a part of the design aspect of the dress.
So the customer has choices.
Yes, the customer has choices.
How long have you been shopping here?
Actually, only about 6 months.
6 months. So you're more than just a loiterer. You actually do buy clothes.
Oh, yes.
Okay. You don't just come in for the coffee?
I know. Is this going to be on television so my husband will see? But actually, yes.
Oh, no.
I
Check
buy
the credit
quite
card
a-
receipts.
Exactly. I buy quite a few.
What's the difference in coming here versus like a big box store where you can pop in and get something right away?
You know, Neville will show me different fabrics. We've gone downstairs, and I get to really custom design some of my clothes. So I love that. This is a real special thing for New Haven. I think it's really cutting edge.
Connecticut is home to many successful companies, including United Technologies Corporation, Pitney Bowes, and General Electric, which collectively employ over 550,000 people and bring in over $217 billion in revenue each year.
How did you get the funding for the first space? Was it self-funded completely?
Yeah, totally. I saved up whatever money I could, acquired a lease. It was $2,700 to get into the building, and I spent about $3,000 fixing it up, and bought some goods and stuff for another $3,000, so around about somewhere close to 10.
Yeah, around 10 grand, not bad. When did you find this space? Was this the next step?
No, this came quite a bit after. It's been 7 years since the company has been up and running. We actually have a space downtown New Haven on 63 Orange Street. It's in the 9th Square District, and that's the space that I really
started.
Yeah, we do a lot of cool stuff where we partner up with the city of New Haven. Town Green Special Services, and we'll block streets off and have runway shows in the middle of the street, and
You really get yourself out into the community, draw awareness, which
yes.
I mean, it has to be great for business. Can you buy online?
We have a website now, shopteeks.com. We actually partnered with another website to do the sale of our product, because we didn't want to take on too much of a task of doing it
building
ourselves.
an e-commerce site.
Yeah, we wanted to kind of partner up with someone. We have our website, we have our own website, but in terms of like our e-commerce account, we just want to like control.
So you're in the growth phase of that right now.
We're in the growth phase of that.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your design concept itself. Now, is it seasonal, or do you have an overall look and feel you're always trying to achieve?
No, definitely. We have a seasonal, we have a spring-summer collection and a fall-winter collection that we do every year. And in between that, I design, immediate pieces. Like once I get inspired by something, I'll just add it to the stores, and we'll make a couple pieces of it and
like one-offs,
put it out.
Sort
Yeah.
of. Is there any, style that kind of carries over from one season to the next, where you could say that's definitely a Neville Wisdom right there?
Yes, I somehow have been kind of like developing that kind of feel for my clothes, where I myself now can somewhat identify who I am through the clothing.
I'm Lauren. I am the brand director for both locations. What I do is a little bit of everything. I help with the consistency of the brand, making sure that Neville's designs and his feel stays the same throughout the company, and that it's more about an experience than just going in, shopping, buying a dress.
How are things right now with the business?
Things are good, and people seem to love what we do.
Yeah.
Women are not all size 0, 4, small sizes, so people
Custom.
like to get things, if you have a larger chest or you're very hippie, people like to have things that look nice on them that, really fit well.
What makes his clothing different?
Well, I love all his pieces, but what makes his style so unique is that it's classic but edgy. And I like that. And it's something that you can wear forever. Like, this is all Neville, what I have on today.
Nice.
I fell in love with it at one of his fashion shows, and I said, I have to have that one.
So people in the area that haven't been here, what would you say to them?
I say, come in here, take a look what he has. It's unique, it's special, and it is something you will have forever in your closet.
Both the pencil skirt and the A-line skirt were designed by Frenchman Christian Dior, who is single-handedly credited with inspiring 1950s fashion.
What has been the absolute hardest challenge, hurdle, personally or professionally, that you've had to overcome through this whole process?
I think pretty much just believing in myself, I think, and sticking with what I know I'm capable of. I think that's pretty much the hardest, because a lot of time the people around you, they don't mean you bad, but they kind of get concerned about whether or not you are
Gonna make it.
Yeah.
And you have to believe yourself.
Yeah, you have to believe it.
And some people
never
believe
stop.
themselves right into the ground. You know what I'm saying? But other people believe themselves to the top.
Yeah, you have to be practical too at some point, I guess.
What advice would you have for another fashion designer out there, or just any entrepreneur that wants to do their own thing? What's the best advice you would give them?
Get some information, do some research, find out, who's doing it, what they're doing, what makes their product good. And also to really evaluate yourself and whether or not you're gonna come in the way of your own business survival.
Keep check of your intentions.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, man. Your story's inspiring, and I love this place. I love your story, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
No, thank you guys for coming down.
There are a million ways to start a business, but how did Neville do it? Let's find out. He started with around $5,000 in the bank and a credit score of around 615. It cost around $12,000 to open his business that he saved up from a previous job. His first year sales were roughly $60,000. And the one word that Neville would use to describe what it takes to make it in business is courage.
When starting a business, it's important to address your long-term plan and not skirt past any of the details. That is, if you fashion yourself as being successful. Either way, if you've chosen a career path that suits you, chances are you're living a model life. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Neville Wisdom. I'm on Middle Street in Portland, Maine, and I'm gonna go talk to Don, the creator of Salt Cellar, a specialty retailer and private label company that deals in all things salt. Let's go hear his story.
Salt has always been a necessity for both human nutrition and development. It is the only family of rocks that can be eaten by humans. Throughout time, salt has been used as currency, to keep livestock alive, de-icing roads, purifying fuel, preserving mummies, and much, much more. After a full career, Don decided it was time to start a business. So when the idea of Salt Cellar came along, he seized the moment and opened this incredibly unique retail store.
Hi, I'm Judith Van Tideman.
And I'm Don Tideman.
We are the owners of the Salt Cellar.
And our mission is to find salt from around the world and bring it to our stores for our customers.
It's all about salt.
All right, so let's start by hearing the story of Don.
Well, Don was in corporate America for a lot of years.
Okay.
And Don retired from corporate America.
What did Don do in corporate America?
Oh, he was in the publishing business.
So what did you do right after you left publishing?
When I left publishing, moved to the West Coast. You know, I think one of the things you run into is when you've had a career for a long time, there's a period that you go through where you're really kind of lost.
You stagnate.
Yeah, well, you just don't know what to do.
So what did you do?
Came back and met my wife. And we decided to do some traveling. As we traveled around Europe, we became really aware of how people use salt. We said, how come there's nothing in the States like this?
I haven't heard of anything like this. And Detroit's built on a salt mine.
So my wife and I, when we came back, we went into the dining room and we took the pictures off the wall and we put some Post-it notes up and we wrote down every single product we could think of. And then we said, gee, what if there was a store where you walked in and there it was?
In 2014, 97% of employers in Maine were small businesses. And while the SBA defines a small business as employing fewer than 500 employees, most Maine small businesses employ fewer than 20.
Retail's hard, but then just salt?
Retail's hard. But we finally convinced the landlord that we had down there that it would be a good idea. And she said, well, your space that we could get was in the basement on an alleyway. So It's an alley in a basement with a salt store.
It doesn't get any more difficult.
It doesn't get any more difficult. So we said, well, what are we going to call this thing? So we said, well, we looked up we said Salt Cellar. It's in a cellar, it's salt. Very descriptive.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
And you're a salt seller.
And
it's a double entendre.
Yeah, we sell salt in the cellar. We launched the day after Thanksgiving.
You guys ended up getting slammed?
We got slammed.
People want that cute thing they could only get here in Portland.
It's about the gifts, because you can only eat so much salt.
Right. It's not, forgot to run by the salt store again, grab milk, butter, and salt.
Yeah, big thing of salt. But when you're thinking about, gee, I've got 10 friends, or I've got a lot of business people.
Yeah. One-stop shop.
Yeah, one-stop shop.
Walk me through some of your products here. What do we have?
Okay, we have here a beautiful Himalayan salt block. They mining it from the foothills of Himalayas, packed with trace minerals. As you see, all the dark green, it's all packed with iron, magnesium. I'll show you. You can use the blocks as cutting boards, seasoning, serving.
How strong is this? How durable? I mean, could I go and break it in half?
Fairly soft rock. If you drop it on a concrete floor, would break.
Well, let's try some salts. I'm a saltaholic, so I'm really excited about this.
So here we have a nice avocado here.
Beautiful.
And you'll see you can nicely slice anything: avocado, tomatoes, cucumbers. Anything has a high water content will pick up the salt quicker.
No, I put salt on salt, so.
So we have here two finishing salts. One is the sriracha and one is the smoked salt. So feel free to
yeah, I want to try the sriracha for sure. Oh my gosh, that is incredible. Okay,
but
I'm going to try the other one.
If you will have some friends over, you just place the salt block in a refrigerator, cool it for an hour, have a little shrimp cocktail, serve the shrimp cocktail right on a salt block, and you'll be loved forever.
Wow, I love this. How are you utilizing the salt? Which ones are you utilizing? Kind of walk me through what it is you're doing.
Yeah, so we use a couple of the slab salts right now.
Okay.
What we're doing with that is
this a miniature version?
That would be a mini version of it. I mean, it looks gorgeous, but it's also, practically usable, and that's what we use it for.
Is it a good conversation piece? Do people ever say, what the heck?
Of course, yeah, they're like, what's that? We use it for our charcuterie boards. Don made custom charcuterie boards for us, and that's what we put our charcuterie on. And it's, again, when that comes out to the table, it blows your mind. You're like, that's amazing. That's amazing. What is this? How can I get this? And we're like, right down the street.
Over the years, salt has served many purposes. For example, in old Japanese theaters, Salt was sprinkled on stage prior to each performance to ward off evil spirits. Okay, let's go back to starting the business, funding. Now, you worked in publishing for many years. I would assume that you built up a savings.
Yeah.
And did you retire? So kind of.
I was semi-retired, you know, and it was kind of.
So you had money to
I had
do
money.
this.
Yeah, I had some money saved up, but I wouldn't say I had like, you know, some monstrous amount of money.
Self-finance.
Self-finance, yeah.
Okay, that was my next
Again,
question.
I would not have wanted to go to a bank with the salt idea.
that would have been rough.
They would have been the worst. Although the banks now like us very much.
Are you making money?
We are making money, yeah.
You are?
It's
profitable.
It's profitable.
But what would you say to other people that are thinking about going into business with their spouse?
Yeah, well, it's like, it's a challenge.
Sounds good on paper.
Yeah, well, you know, what happens is, you know, you just have all these opportunities when you're married and in the same business to have something become a point of contention. So the opportunity scale has gone from this to this.
What's been the biggest hardship that you've had to overcome since starting the business?
Oh, the biggest hardship.
If nothing, that's great. Then you're a very rare case.
When we came up here, everything we did, no matter what, worked out to our benefit. We got so lucky. Like, we found this basement place that now is a destination.
Yeah.
Not this thing like, oh, anybody can find it.
You gotta go check out this Salt Cellar place. People like exclusivity.
They like that, and they want to say, this is my place. And you'll see them come down and they'll bring their friends and they're all like, yeah, I found this place.
So what advice would Don have?
Go someplace, travel, get some ideas, see some things that just you didn't see anywhere else, and just do something that you really like. You like the idea, you like the way you're gonna feel doing it. I think that's that's the number one thing for an entrepreneur. Do what you like.
As a second career guy, any advice specifically to that baby boomer generation that have retired and they're bored?
Yeah, you know, it's there's still a lot of gas in the tank these days. You know, it's not like we're going down that quick.
Yeah.
So
don't be scared.
Don't be afraid. This isn't something I could have done 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. A lot of times the idea that you have, a lot of it's based on, is it the right idea at the right time?
Got it.
And that you can't control so much, but you can feel it. When we were successful early on, we didn't know whether we were part of a trend or part of a fad. And a fad and a trend look exactly the same in the beginning.
The fad goes away real quick.
The fad goes away.
So the $5 million question here, are you happy?
Thrilled.
Good decision.
Best decision I ever made from a business point of view.
Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you, Gary.
Appreciate it. There are a million ways to start a business, but how did Don do it? Let's find out. He started with a credit score of 800 and spent a total of $100,000 to open the business, which he acquired from personal savings. He spends roughly $7,000 a month on leases for their 3 locations. The business has been open for 4 years, and the one word that Don would use to describe what it takes to make it in business is drive. When starting a business, you have to sprinkle on all the right seasonings to make it work. And you have to be honest with yourself, whether you're dealing with salty customers or being peppered with compliments. Sometimes the best way to not leave a bad taste in your mouth is to just stay true to your vision and do what you love. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Salt Cellar.
Many times I've ignored the numbers and gone in on something and, with my heart. And the results have been about 50-50. 50% painful because maybe I went in with my heart and maybe the entrepreneur I partnered up with wasn't great, or maybe I went in with my heart and the idea wasn't good on my side. And then 50% of the time, the numbers were really, really amazing because I went in with my heart and it was even better than I thought it would be. So I'm batting about 50-50 on that.
Next time on Startup, we head to Amherst, New Hampshire to talk to Amy, who founded LaBelle Winery. Then we head over to South Kingstown, Rhode Island to talk to Perry, the owner of Matunic Oyster Bar and Farm. Be sure to join us next time on Startup.
And then what is it you do for a living?
I play professional football for the Detroit Lions.
Okay, this is the big question. Super Bowl is here?
Yeah.
Come on, please.
Yeah.
Please, I'm begging. It's been up.
You've written your own story of success, and it shows. Chrysler is proud to support startup and all the people out there who define their own success.
The Michigan Economic Development Corporation is proud to support startup and all the dreamers, thinkers, and doers. Pure Michigan, ready for the next big thing.
The American small business was built on one thing: relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
There is nothing easy about starting a small business. A Baker's Tale, all natural and gluten-free cookies, tarts, pies, and cakes online. A Baker's Tale is proud to support startup and all of the entrepreneurs out there trying to sweeten their own story of success.